Welcome back. Steve Concialdi is here today. Great to have you here.
Thanks, Ken.
And we're going to talk about a lot of different things here. We're going to talk about drowning statistics. We're going to talk about the state fires, which is why Jeff is not here. Jeff Shelton was going to come on, but he's still up north. And we're also going to talk about garage fires and the importance of smoke alarms there. Where do you want to begin first? You want to go over the drowning statistics?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. And we're going to bring up one of the slides there that we have and talk about this. And once again, you update us with this every month. Here they are. A little hard to see on screen, but I wanted to show you that these are available.
So far in 2015, we've already had 78 drowning calls this year. That is just too many. One is too many. 27 of those have been fatal. But for the residents here in Laguna Woods, almost half of those fatal have involved adults 50 years or older. And because they're in or around the water alone, if something happens, a medical emergency, they get lightheaded or dizzy, their blood sugar drops, they have some sort of medical issue where if nobody's there, nobody could help you. There's nobody there just to keep your head out. Fortunately, Laguna Woods, you have excellent lifeguards here. There's usually people around. And if you look, Laguna Woods is one of the only cities in Orange County that has not had one drowning incident this year. So
that's amazing.
So your viewers are learning, listening, and swimming with a buddy, hanging out by the pool with somebody else. When they're with their grandkids, they're watching, they're keeping a close eye on their grandkids, and they're spreading the message, and that is helping.
Yeah, and that's great because it's just, this is, as you say, this is 100% preventable just by what you just said, whether it's watching the kids out in the pool, keeping gates around the pool, swimming with somebody, and when you're going down to the beach, knowing what the conditions are and knowing what your abilities are, right?
Right. One of the most recent ones that was just sent to us this week, there was a 4-year-old. It was a pool party, a lot of people around a backyard pool. He even had a life vest on, but he got out of the pool, he wanted to go to the bathroom, ran to the bathroom, and took his vest off. But these kids are so quick. He got back into the pool without anybody noticing, and he didn't have his vest on. And then he got too far, got too deep, and he started struggling, and he was found underneath. So when he was pulled out, they did CPR, rushed him to CHOC, and he's still in the hospital today.
Wow.
And it's just, these are all tragic because it happens so quick. And these children, like we say, drowned without a sound.
Yeah.
Nobody heard them until it was too late.
Yeah. And a good point that you brought up there were obviously many people around that pool, but no one in particular that said you're watching what's going on. And even in instances like that, you got a lot of kids, you can make a rule as much as they will follow it, but at least say, when you get back in the pool, you have to check with an adult. You're not allowed to get back in this pool until you check with an adult.
Right.
And
then the other thing is that water watcher, Orange County Fire stresses a water watcher. Somebody just designated for 15 to 20 minutes. Their sole purpose is to just watch the kids playing and watch the water and kids around the pool, tell them not to run around the pool, so forth, and then rotate that.
Yeah.
Because we all want to spend time with our friends and socialize, and we get interrupted by our devices. But we need somebody, especially when you have small kids, to be very careful and watch the water.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's talk about the huge state fires that we, the two in particular. There's more than two, but the two biggest, of course, that we have been in the news are both the Valley Fire up in Middleton and Napa area, and the Butte Fire, which is sort of in between Sacramento and Stockton, somewhat in the gold country there. And I was telling Steve, my nephew who lives by the Butte Fire, they had to evacuate. They're fine. They were in a little city called Pine Grove. But it has just been immense. And the most noticeable thing here has been how quickly they have grown. Just unbelievable.
We are so dry here in California. This is the 4th year of our drought. And so fuel moisture is so low. So when we do have a fire that gets started, especially when there is wind, it rapidly grows. Fortunately for us here in Southern California, the winds haven't come. They will be coming. It's October here real soon.
Right.
And we have our Santa Ana winds, our Indian summers, which beautiful weather. However, when we have a wind behind a fire, even a small fire, a vehicle fire next to the road, workers that are working around properties with heavy machinery, and sometimes a spark develops, somebody starting a fire intentionally, or children playing with matches or lighters. Once a fire starts in a windy condition, it will grow rapidly. And these are from the Butte Fire. Some of our firefighters sent these to us. And you can see one of our division soups, that's a division supervisor. He's in charge of numerous acres on one part of the fire. And the fire obviously got close, and there was a retardant drop, and his pickup truck was hit by that retardant drop. But as of Thursday last week, we had 91 fire personnel from Orange County Fire. That is almost 10% of our department that are up there fighting the fires.
Wow,
and
that's amazing.
in overhead positions in various roles. A lot of those returned. In fact, we sent out a press release last night. About 70 of those or so returned. We still have approximately 20 fire personnel up at fires, the Valley Fire, the Butte Fire, and some other fires. In fact, Jeff Shelton was going to be here. He's one of our fire behavioral analysts. He predicts it. In fact, he just told me yesterday we could have a wind event in possibly 7 to 10 days, the first one that we see. And again, they're going to predict it as it gets closer, but he's one of our rescue medics on our helicopter. Orange County Fire is very fortunate, and the citizens of Orange County are so fortunate that we have 4 helicopters, and we have on the weekends a rescue medic, a paramedic on board. Also, we're one of only 2 counties, and there's 58 counties in California, but one of only 2 counties that is willing to send one of those helicopters out of county to fires, and we send our rescue medic. So there's a crew chief, there's a pilot, and a rescue medic. So not only can they fight fire by dumping water from their tank, but there's a rescue medic on board, so which they have done. They could lower him down and then secure a patient, secure people that are trapped, hoist him directly into the helicopter and fly him to safety. And they could do that for a few people. Yeah. And it is amazing what they're doing.
And that's what Jeff does.
That's what Jeff's doing. Yeah. And they could fly at night. And so not all the helicopters. A lot of helicopters have hoist capabilities, but ours, the reason why ours is unique is it can fly 24/7 because the pilots have night vision goggles. They're highly trained, probably the best pilots. We think the best pilots in the country because we did a national search to get some excellent pilots, and so they're safe. We've had our helicopter program since after the Laguna and Malibu fires. So in 1994 they started. And fortunately, there hasn't been a serious incident, and they are saving lives and property.
Yeah,
constantly.
It's amazing, and I know that again. That's the reason that Jeff isn't here. Is he coming back next couple days, or what's
right? So he was hoping to get released by today, but he's still committed, and so we fulfill the state mission. When the state asks for resources, we gladly send resources up there because we know. When we get into October and November, and sometimes even in December, when we have our Santa Ana winds here, we're going to need resources from Central and Northern California helping us with our Southern California fires. Right. And that's what's happening up there. They are taxed. They've had lightning strikes. They have had other causes. And when you have a fire that quickly grows and you have aircraft that's committed, then a second or third or fourth large fire breaks out, there's only so many helicopters and planes and firefighters, and that's why the state has this outstanding mutual aid system where we all help each other, as well as from other states and other countries. There are firefighters from other countries that have come help in that area.
And both these fires up the Valley and Butte Fire, obviously we have a lot of areas that are close to the wilderness here. These areas in particular, the best way I can describe them are more like what you see up in Silverado Canyon and those kinds of areas. Even the town of Middleton is pretty much surrounded. A tiny little town, it's, I think maybe a square mile, if that, but the houses that you heard that were unfortunately lost, and even parts of the outskirts of the town, we're in, I would call it pretty rural areas. They're up roads. there might be homes that are kind of next to each other, but they're surrounded by huge trees. And
Right, and that's what they have. There was a lot of
Yeah.
timber up there.
Yeah.
But there's been over 1,600 residents that have been destroyed.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not like a tract here in Laguna Hills or Lake Forest. They're spread out, and it's devastating. And they've lost businesses up there, a number of outbuildings, and they're still assessing damage up there.
Yeah, and
So
unfortunately, I think 6 people have
I don't know the exact number, but it's somewhere
something like that.
somewhere close to that.
Yeah.
But that's why we want to recommend all residents, if you live in the wildland interface, to make sure you have defensible space around your home. Act Now, Ready, Set, Go OC
Yeah.
is a great website, and you can go to that, and it has tips on there to what to do to plan ahead, to talk to your family, but make sure you have that defensible space. It buys the firefighters those extra few minutes to get in there between homes, and as the fire is roaring up, to be able to knock those down. But when you have combustibles next to a window, trees next to windows or your roof, those embers quickly start those trees or those bushes on fire. It breaks a window, and the fire quickly gets inside.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to talk about, and I know we have, this is it, and this is interesting here. Interesting in the fact that over, what was this, the last week or
This
so?
is all in the last week.
And these are all, am I right, garage fires, or started, am I right, or is there one of them
Right.
that's
Well,
not?
so we've had.
This is, I think, was more of a carport.
Well, no, this
right?
this started in a garage. So there were 6 garages there. That was in Irvine. That was last Friday.
Yeah.
So a week ago, and it started in a center garage, and they're literally townhomes, condos that are directly behind it. So you can see this. This is basically the garage, and then you could walk through into your home right
Okay.
back here. And what you can't really see here is, but these are nice windows and doors. It is melted around there.
Yeah.
And 6 of those homes were damaged, 3 significantly by fire, and then 3 by smoke. 4 garages were heavily damaged. You could see this. But what was happening is they were doing some etching. It's a machinery that makes just different wood designs, and there's a laser, and it was left unattended. So something malfunctioned.
Yeah.
And since there was nobody in there, and garages are not required to have smoke alarms or heat detectors. Orange County Fire and most fire departments recommend having a smoke alarm or a heat detector in all garages because it's an early detection.
Yeah.
And what happens is like this fire in Dana Point started in the garage. It was a while before the family realized, and as the homeowner, the mom was exiting, she got hurt in that fire. And you see how intense that
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
But again, smoke alarms, right away, they alert you to the first whisper of smoke. And they're loud so everybody could hear. But there was no working smoke alarms in the garage in Irvine. There was no working smoke alarm in Dana Point. And again, that home was destroyed because of that.
Yeah.
Here in Santa Ana, this fire started on an outside patio where there was an older refrigerator, possibly 30 years
Oh,
or
really?
older. And what happened is there was some malfunction, but it happened at 5 a.m. where there were 9 people inside, 7 adults and 2 children in this single-story home. One of the residents in her 20s just got up to go to work, and she thought there was a bright light or somebody left the light, so she started going this and realized the patio was on fire. So she quickly yelled to get everybody out. There was the kids were in the first bedroom, so there was a 14-year-old that the only way out was through the window. He jumped out through the window. He hurt his ankle in the process. Fortunately, nobody else got hurt, but they did not have any working smoke alarms.
Yeah.
The smoke was
Wow.
already inside, and if they would have had smoke alarms, it would have quickly alerted the residents.
Right.
And this could have been a deadly, like we had on January 20th in San Juan, the Lizanha fire. That was devastating, where 3, a mom and her 2 children lost their lives. I mean, that's just, we don't want that to occur, and it does not take much to go out and buy one of these smoke alarms.
And you guys can help the local
right, if
agency.
If you
will go
can't
out.
afford
Yeah.
one or you're having financial trouble, we'll gladly come and provide a smoke. Orange
Yeah.
County Fire Authority will. We'll even install them for you. And one in every bedroom, and then one in the hallways that lead to the bedrooms.
Okay, and we do have a lot of residents here that do have their own enclosed garages. I have one of those in my garage for that reason. And you know, the other thing that I make sure that I do, and you told me this, is that when it comes to recharging your batteries, I'm not talking about your phone, I'm talking about the batteries for your drill, the lithium batteries and things like that. They can malfunction. So now what I do with my lithium battery, I'll charge it while I'm home during the day, usually in the evening in the kitchen, and I keep it there because I walk by it and I go, oh, gotta unplug it, it's time, I'm going to bed, even if it's not fully charged. I don't charge them in my garage and forget about them anymore.
Right, and that's where some of the fires we've talked about, the one in Dove Canyon that destroyed, and even a few months ago, that home had not been rebuilt, and that's been over a year in that fire. And what happens is a lot of these fires start, those batteries, we've talked about them, charging remote control cars or planes or those. If they're left unattended and there's a problem, and like in the garage, they go undetected for a while, and then a fire starts. But we had a fourth fire just the other night in Westminster. So it was the fourth significant fire in this past week, and it was a female in her 70s, and she was just, and this was in the early evening, she was walking to the kitchen just to go feed her 2 dogs, and she noticed outside, again, her patio was on fire. And what happened there is she had a strip plug that somehow that malfunctioned. And they do occasionally malfunction. That's why we always want to have a circuit breaker on there. So if something happens, it trips. The problem there is she had papers and combustibles around that strip, that surge protector, that strip center. So what happened is when there was a malfunction and it sparked, it started the combustibles on fire, the papers and everything, and then it quickly spread.
Wow.
And it caused over $100,000 to her home, about $50,000 to her contents, and she's displaced. All just like that because something malfunctioned and there was combustibles close by.
Wow. I want to quickly show this. You sent us these photos. There's Jeff up there, and great photos here. I love the kind of the panoramic photo here in the helicopter.
Right, and that was Jeff sending me. That was his artistic side of him. The panorama shot here. But he wanted to be here, so he sent me these yesterday.
That's great.
And so this is one of our 4 helicopters. This is Orange County Fire's Helicopter 3, and Jeff's the rescue paramedic. There's also a crew chief and a pilot there. And again, these are highly trained, so they're up there and they're protecting people. It is great to see. Look how he's away from his family for a while, but he's happy to be up there, part of this.
That's fantastic. Mission. And it's nice, as you said, that hopefully we do not need mutual aid from up there in the state, but this is how everybody works together, and it's great. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. You can sit here.